Well, hello folks. What are we doing today? You get fed up of me saying that, don't you? Well, still waiting for the reed valve for the petter. In the meantime, as you guys know, I've had the Bonza up for sale. And a couple of people come and looked at it, but no one's actually pulled the trigger on it. And a mate of mine, he said to me, Adam, he says, I've got something that you want. I said, yes. He says, I think maybe we can do a trade for the Bonza. I said, look, before I do any trading for the Bonza, Darren, I want to make sure the thing you've got actually runs. Because he's never heard it running. I've never heard it running. So we need to get to the bottom of why it isn't running. So let's get outside, have a look at it, and see if we can get it running. And you'll see when you see it, but why weren't it running? Many questions. So we're outside. We see the trailer. This will give you a hint that it come on a trailer. But what is it? Da, 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 da. There we go. Now then, in case you guys didn't know, Mrs. Mancave has wanted a bow top Allis B for a long time. We used to see them at the rallies and she said, oh, they're lovely. And then we actually see this actual tractor. My mate bought that while I was with him from Hilgey Auction. It came from a Barry Hawkins auction. I think he's had it about 18 months, something like that. But as you can see, let me show you round. Somebody has put brand new tyres on it. So they've put brand new tyres on it. They've painted it, but not the best paint. There's a brand new seat. There's the backrest. The cushion is in the shed, still wrapped up. So they've put new tyres. They've put new seat on it. They've put new plugs on it. Obviously done the head. If we come round here, you'll see they've put all new hoses on it, new belts on it. They have basically gone through this thing. But then they put it in the auction as a non-runner. My mate bought it, thinking I'll get out running. He couldn't get it going. And it's like really bizarre. So there's a story as to why this doesn't run. It turns out when my mate bought it off the auction, after he bought it, the guy come up to him and said, I actually put this in. They said it did run before we restored it, but we took the mag off and everything to do the tractor, and when we put it all back together, we never could get it to run again. But he said that did run before we took it to pieces. So I've got to weigh up why this thing isn't going. Is it something as simple as the foreign order's wrong? I haven't got a clue. This is something I'm going to have to check. Yes, I've looked at the old diagram, and this should be 1, this should be 2, this should be 4, this one should be 3. So on the diagram, it is set up right. The mag is sparking, I believe, because you do get the odd pop out of it, but it certainly isn't in time. Two things have happened. Either the mag is clocked wrong, but I believe on these Lucas mags you can only get them 180 degrees out. So we're going to have to, the easiest way to do that, there is timing marks on these little Allis Bs. You can look through there at the flywheel and there is little TDC marks and that, but I believe there's 2 TDC marks on there, 180 degrees apart. One for cylinder 1, one for cylinder 4. The easiest way to tell if you're on TDC is, we'll take all the plugs out. I can put my finger over number 1 plug and turn it till I hear a hiss. Stick a screwdriver in there, feel the piston till that's up the top. And you know then that number 1's at top dead centre on compression stroke. If you do it on the timing marks, it could be on exhaust stroke. So you've got to feel the hiss to make sure it's on compression. Then you know number one. Then we need to look where the rotary arm's pointing. When it fires at number one, make sure it clicks over when it's at the top. And then we're all right. So, without any further ado, let me get a coat on, get you in a tripod, and we'll have a little play with this Allis B. There is 0 petrol. If you're wondering why this is a different colour, when my mate got this and got it home, he realised there was a little rot hole in the bottom of the tank and it was starting to weep. So he did source a good second-hand tank, which he's painted, but it's not quite sort of the same colour. But I think this is more the original colour than this. Either way, we will be painting this again at some point, because I'm not happy with the paint job on this thing. But if we can get it running, that's it. Right, oh, that is cold and it looks like it's going to rain. If you're wondering, this is a 1938 Allis B, so this is a really early. She's a really early one, guys. 1938 Allis B bow axle. So this is the American tractor, not the UK tractor. But we'll have a good look round her. Normally the rear wheel rims are rotted out on these. They look brilliant. So we've got brand new tyres on her. Then wheel rims do look phenomenally good. We have a helicopter coming over. Where is he? There he is. There he is. I'm sure you guys want to hear the helicopter. There he comes. There he goes. Right, back to the Allis. So yes, we have all good wheel rims, but I say my mate's had this over a year. He doesn't know if it runs, if it's any good. He has no clue. So it's here now, and if it runs, he's going to take my Bonza, and all is good with the world. Right. Oh, it's cold today. Where's the nice weather gone? We had a heat wave here a month ago. Well, would you believe, 10 minutes later, the sun is shining. There we go. I've just been standing in the shed. So what I'm going to do is, for a start, you're a bit on the wonk, but you'll do. There we are. We're going to take the back off this magneto and see what things are like in the back there. Of course, I believe this has got a spark, because I say it is popping, but I want to see the position of this rotor arm, and we want to make sure, because two things could have happened. The mag's been put in 180 out, or even worse than that, somebody's had this timing cover off the front here, and if they've put the timing gear back on there and clocked it wrong, that's going to be a major headache, because the mag will never sit right. Come on. No, that bottom one ain't fully out yet, look.
What are you doing?
Oh, Mrs. Bonecave's here. You should have seen the little chuckle she did last night. She took a little picture of this and she done a little chuckle. We can whip all them off, because they're all going to be repurposed anyhow. Let's look inside our mag. You know, that actually looks good. Yeah, they're all bright and shiny contacts, so I don't think there's anything wrong with the mag side of it. Let's pop the plugs all out. Because I don't think this engine's been ran since whoever did the work to it. I might be wrong, but no. As I thought, them plugs, they've never been in a running engine. So this has not ran since somebody done all the plugs on it. And I need to work out why. This is what we need to work out, guys. We need to work out why is this not running. Alright, there's the plugs out. So I think first order of business, I'll get you guys around here. Oh, you're not going to see what I'm doing very well. Let me try and lower you a bit. Right, that's better. So what I want to do is hold my finger in this plug hole and turn this thing over till I feel a hiss. And then I'll know that top, number 4 is on the way up. Cool. Right, we got a hiss, and it's fired. Right, we got a hiss, so I need to feel this piston now. Just feel when that's top dead centre. I can't feel it. Let me go get a wire. Something I can get in there with. So guys, I got a wire with a bend on it, so we can hopefully feel that piston. That's going down again, I think. That weren't far out, guys. Right, here's my hiss. Yeah, that is definitely coming back up. Quite a job when you're on a handle. Alright, that's somewhere. There you go, that is spot on. So where that was, we need to look now. I've been looking at, feeling this end. I need to look at which one, because this should be number 1, but it really don't matter. If number 1 is here, it doesn't matter. We can just put the leads on according. So let me get my hiss again. There's my hiss. There's my hiss. Right, so it's going to be striking number 1 down here, not up here. So, somebody's got the mag on 180 degrees out, because number 1 should be here, it's here. It really doesn't matter. We can just follow the firing order. So, number 1 is going to be this bottom one here. It's going to effectively be here, so it's going to be this one. So this is our number 1. No, that's wrong, because I got this on the wrong way around. Number 1 is going to be this bottom one here. So let me put the cap back on. They had it set, so number 1 was this one. So I think we may have found a problem. They have put the magneto on and clocked it 180 degrees out though. That was the problem. That was the problem, guys. They clocked her 180 degrees out. Really, the mag wasn't taken off, turning 180 degrees and putting back on. These caps are horrible. Come on. What is wrong with this cap? Oh, that's better. We weren't quite lined up, guys. Foreign order on these, I believe, is 1, 2, 4, 3. We're going in. Yeah. Get the back one in. There you go. Right. So we know that number 1 is this one. So somebody had this. It's got this mag 180 degrees out. So we can now put our plugs back in, like so. Are these the right plugs for this? B6S. Are they the right plugs for an Allis B? I have no clue. Right. There we go. There we are. Let's get these tightened up. So yeah, somebody has put the mag in 180 degrees out. We could easily take it off and change it. And we just make sure all the doobies are screwed back on. But that should run like this. So that's 1. This one's 2. This next one will be 4. This one's 3. Right. Is it going to do anything? I haven't got a clue, guys. Let me extend you out, put you back up again, get this tripod extended. There we are. So I think it's timed up how it should be. So let me get some petrol on. Where's the petrol? There was a tap up here on the petrol tank. And then another tap around the other side. Come with me, we'll have a look. Alright, we want to see if we've got any petrol up the carb. I have no way of knowing whether the choke is on or off here or here. Short of taking this air cleaner off, which I might do. That look like that's 2 volts, that air cleaner will come out. So I don't know if choke is on here or off there. Alright, somebody's... Hang on, I can see in there. I can't see in there. This pipe's not right, someone's put on here, and that's piddle and petrol out there, look. Look at that, it's piddle and petrol out of that air cleaner. We have a leak on this tap. I wonder if we've got a carb issue as well, you know. Because I don't think that's an original Allis carb. That looked like a Zenith to me. Yeah, this looks like a Zenith carb. Right, we will give her a little pull and see if it does anything though. Doubtful. I'll come this way. Doubtful, but you never know. Right, let me take the bean can off the exhaust. No, sorry, Devon custard, look. Someone's been posh with the ambrosia. Oh, I'll come this way. Whoa! She blew back on us a bit, guys. Right, we have petrol piddling out of that carb. Absolutely piddling out. Right, I think we need to get this carb off because that is leaking everywhere. Yeah, this carb is leaking petrol. Look at that, it's dripping out of the air intake. There is no way it's going to run behaving like that. Look at all the petrol. So I think that must be choke on, that's choke off. It's either just flooded or we've got a carb problem. Well, she started. She has zero exhaust, but she started. So I don't think we have a timing problem because it actually ran nice. I think it's more of a carb issue because when I put the throttle down, she weren't slowing down. So I think we've got to whip this carb off and have a look at it. Ah! Well guys, air intake is off. I don't think there's meant to be petrol running out of the air intake. That is full of petrol in there. So I'm thinking, let me turn the fuel back on. I'm thinking this carb is leaking petrol, you know. So I'll put the petrol back on. We're not got TVO in it, we're running on the petrol tank. Look at that. There you go. Petrol is running out of that carburetor. That'll explain why she isn't going, guys. So I need to have a little ferret about. I'm sure someone's rounded that bloody banjo nut up. How the devil are you meant to get that undone now? Somebody's been on this thing here and rounded it. absolutely rounded that off. Hopefully that'll come undone. Oh yes. Come on, off you come. There we go. So yeah, I think we need to take this carb to pieces, and that's probably got a stuck float. Get the little fibre washers off. I love how it's raining again. We had sunshine 5 minutes ago. Alright, oh yeah, I'm going in the shed. It is pedaling down. So let me get the carb off and we'll get in the shed. Alright, as you can see, we have. I don't think there's meant to be that much petrol in these carbs. Either we have a float missing, bits missing, whatever. It is a 24 T2 Zenith, so it's the same as a grey Fergie. I do have 2 or 3 of these carbs, but we'll try and keep this original one, and we'll see if we got, I reckon, the float could be full of fuel. Do you know what I mean? I reckon we could have a float issue, needle and seat issue, put together wrong. We just don't know. But I do have 2 or 3 of these carbs spare. But at least now we know the ignition timing is right. We just have a problem with this carburetor because she is well over fueling, as you just saw. Yeah, come on, get up there. So we'll see what's going on with the old girl. Well, she started up, but she got no exhaust on, because my mate bought the tractor over yesterday, and he said, oh, I forgot to bring the exhaust at him. Alright, fair enough. I think this one's just an idle screw, so we can sort that out later on. There we are. One more. Yep, that is one of them as well. That holds the return spring for the choke as well. So I mustn't forget which orientation that goes. There we are. I don't think this is the right carb for an Allis B at all. But if it runs, I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not too worried. Have I got all the screws out? I have. So we want to hope the gasket is alright. Don't break. Yes, gasket is good. Right. Come on. Come on. Yeah, look at that. We haven't broken the gasket. Put that for safekeeping. Alright, why was that over fueling? Of course that, I thought that float might have been stuck. Right, well that seemed to be working. That float is dented in the top block. That's meant to be domed and that's pushed in, so that's not going to be pushing up on that one-way valve, is it? And look at the crap and crud in that carb, all these jets. So I think while we're this far ahead, we'll take all the jets out, pull the Venturi out if we can. Sometimes these Venturis come out of here. Sometimes they're a bit stuck. If it don't come out, that'll have to stay. I'm not going to force and break things. You know, she might have to stay in. That ain't really important. The ones are, we need to get these jets out. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can get these jets out here, guys. Come on. Our brass. Oh, yes. And you don't want to give them too much stick. There we go, there's one. And then I can blow out this carburetor gently. Ah, she's come. With some compressed air. Oh, well, that jet is fine. I can see right through it. Okay. We'll put our jets in there. I'll just fire up my little compressor. The little baby one. Which will give us the air we want. Just to blow this out. We'll give him a little blowout. I need a little bit of carb spray now to make sure that's thoroughly cleaned. Alright, let's just give this all, gosh, red. Alright, God. That is red coming out of there. So I'm going to get my little, go in my little box here, and I get out, I've got one of these which I use for cleaning in carb bowls. Ah, there it is, that's the one. There we go. So we'll get this in the drill and just go in the bottom of that bowl. There we go. That's a little brass wheel. Perfect for cleaning in bowls. Look at the colour of that coming out of there. Brown. There we go. But she's all now clean, which is good. Let's just get our little jets. The big one I can see through. This one I can see through. So I don't think we've got major problems with our jets. I don't think I've got a thin enough tip. My really thin one has gone. Yeah, the really thin, the thinnest one has broken off my set. I need to get another set of these tip cleaners, really. Because that is a tiny, tiny little hole in there. We might have to use a wire off a wire brush. I need some new tip cleaners, guys. I can see air through it. Oh, yeah, it's coming out of there, look. Yeah, I think that's clean. That's alright. That's alright, darling. That ain't the right one. We really want that big red wire brush. But no, that's alright, we're going through. I'm just talking to Rachel. Right. Now we've done a clean up, let's get this thing back together here, and then we'll retrieve another float out of another carb. Make sure the tip of your screwdriver is clean, because you don't want to have something on your screwdriver and then jam in the hole. There's our other jet. And that's absolutely fine, I can see that. So these old carbs are quite simple. There ain't really a lot to a Zenith carb, guys. There we are. But I think that float having the dent in the top is going to cause us our trouble. You're going to say, why didn't you put this entire carburetor on? Well, I don't know if the orientation for anything is right for a start. And I don't know if that carb's any good either. Is our orientation all alright? It turns out that yes, the orientation of everything on it is perfect. That'd just be changing these arms over. Yeah, it looks like it would be the right one. Hang on. There's a mixture screw broken out of there, look. Which we got in here. Alright, I'm wondering. We've got a new mixture screw in here. That one's got a blank. This has got mixture screws. Do you reckon we should use this carb? Can't see why we shouldn't. We can just take all this menagerie off here and put on here. Right, take two. We might be using a different carb, guys. We just got to do the same to this one we've just done to that other one. There we go. So let's have a look and see what this one's like inside. I'm going to put the parts for this carb over this side so they don't get muddled. It'll be alright. At least we've got a good gasket, because these gaskets on these carbs are prone to breaking. I was looking for that little washer. There he be. Just buzz this idle screw right out here again. That one's got a thumb idle, the other one, I quite like that. We might replace it with a thumb idle. There we are. Alright, let's crack her open. Come on. Save the gasket. Come on. Yes, we saved this gasket as well. Come on, get off there. Get off. Don't break. Yes, that's all. Right. So is the top end of this carb alright? Is our inlet the same? Yeah, our inlet is on the end. Just check this is the end. Yeah, that one ain't going anywhere, that's good. Right, so pretty much the top end of this carb, just blow through these jets and give her a blow with air. So our top passage is good. Ah, even the old gasket's coming off here, look. Perfect. Yeah, I think we're going to use this carb. This is how your float should be. Look at that. See, that's domed on the top. That one's pushed in. So what happens is this one won't go on up enough to push in this return valve. The float goes on that little dimple and pushes it up to shut the fuel off. Well, if that's dented down, that ain't going to. This one is domed, look. So that's why our carb was flooding. That float is fit for the brass bag. What's this carb like inside? We'll give her the same treatment, guys. Just give her a clean. Oh, filthy as well. Alright, let's see if these jets will come out of this one. Hopefully. Yep. We could, in case the jets are different in this for a different tractor, we could take the jets out of the old carb and put in this one. No, I'm going to leave it, because I'm guessing they're going to be probably the same. That's not the right carb for an Allis anyhow, I'm sure it isn't. Oh yes, I think everything's clean. That one's clean. Are we getting anything out of this? Oh yes, look. Yep. So these jets are clean. Ah, the Venturi lift out of this one, look. So what this gizmo in here is, it's called the Venturi because it does the Venturi effect. Air gets pulled in through the carburetor. In case some of you guys don't know, air gets pulled in through the carburetor and drawn up this hole. Now to see the shape of this, it's like domed. What that does is causes a vacuum, because you've got a large volume of air going through a small hole to another large volume of air. And that causes a vacuum, which draws your fuel through this little jet here. And that is how a downdraft carburetor works. Because it's, no, an updraft, sorry, because it's pulling upwards. So, that is it. That is basically how they work. So there you go. You've got a lesson on Venturis and how they draw fuel. And that is the Venturi chamber. And you can change them as well to give you more or less suck. The volume of suck you get entirely depend on the size of your Venturi chamber. And on these 24T2 carbs, these were fitted to so many engines, from some little old petters right up to the 2 litre grey Fergie. They have to be jetted and Venturi different. So we can put E back in there. which is the top we're using? We're using this top, aren't we? That's all been blown out. So we know this top has all good. Excellent stuff. So we'll get a gasket back on here. Let's find the best gasket we got, which will be this one. There we go. We can be reassembling this, and then hopefully we'll have a non-leaking carburetor. Then we just got to swap the controls from this one. Oh, hang on, I found a difference. No, I haven't. We're right. I thought we had a difference. Sometimes there can be slight differences in the controls, which mean they aren't that straightforward to convert over. But no, we're all right. So yes, whoever started that little Allis, they did a sort of have a go job, you know. It's nice that they went to the trouble of putting the new tyres on and getting the new seat made up. That's nice, and quite inexpensive, if I'm honest. But they come a little bit unstuck with the mechanicals, didn't they? Yep. So somebody got in a bit of a mess trying to do the ignition timing, didn't realise the float was damaged in this carburetor. And there we are. Right, idle screw. I think I'm going to use... Yeah, I think I'm going to put this thumb screw back in it, because I like the idea of a thumb screw better than a normal screw. Right, now we need to take off this and put on here, because this is for the Allis linkage. So let's hope these all come off all right. They normally undo these things. There we go. Let's take this side off. Oh, that one was loose. So we'll lift that off there. Come on. Come on. Cool. Hopefully this one will lift off here. Let me put a screw back in here, look, so that's tight. Alright, will this little arm come off? It should do, guys. This little arm should come off. There we go. Cool, she's on there tight. There we are. So that come off there. Yep, that's right. We can put our nut back on. Just put the little spring washer on before you guys say, you ain't put that spring washer back on there. go. You don't have to do them massively tight. Right, now we need to do the choke side and take this arrangement off and put on here, look. Because this is, again, different. This is if you've got a choke actually up on your dashboard, which we haven't. Because this is hand start, we've just got a manual choke. There we are. Alright, let's take that lot off. Get this lot off. There we are. Now we put this one back on here. Yep, the orientation of the choke is right. And if you remember, we've got to put that clip back under that screw, haven't we? Sorry, this is a bit boring, guys, but all we're doing is changing carbs over. But right, so we need to get this screw back out and just put that under there, and that will hold the choke on or off, which is exactly what we need to do on this machine. So we'll get he up there. Just make sure our choke hole's on or off. It doesn't, it's going one way. I think that's because, there's a return spring on this carb, and there isn't on this one. So let's push that right round. No, that isn't going to work. Because we've got a return spring on this choke. Let me faff around. Because all I've got to do is work out why work out how to take the return spring off this carb. What's this one? Oh no, there's no return spring on there, look. So we just got to pop this return spring off this carb this side. There you go, that's disconnected. And now come on. This carb should operate like it did on the other one. So have that come out there about straight, and that should hold on or off. Look, there we go. Forward is on. There we go. I think we have a carb ready to go back on a little Allis. Right, let's get him on. Right guys, we have our carb on. I have given him a clean. I have found a better banjo bolt here which isn't all chewed up. So we're going to take this original out, which is a little bit chewed up, and we'll replace it. We've got the little gauze filter here, which is all good. There we are. are. And here we are. So we have a nice good banjo bolt in here now. There we go. One we can tighten up with a proper socket. There you go. Alright, let's see if we got a petrol leak now. So petrol's on. I say hopefully we don't have a leak. Well, so far so good. We'll just give the carb a tap. That'll just make sure it's okay. So that don't look like we've got any sort of leak there. One thing I've noticed is we don't have a drain for the carburetor. That's going to be a little bit awkward if we ever stop this on TBO and need to drain the carb. But we want to see if it runs. Is our throttle working? Yep, throttle's working. Excellent. Right guys, we are back. Like I say, the carb's back on. This is a couple of hours later. I haven't tried to start this again because my buddy, when he bought the tractor yesterday, he forgot to bring the exhaust. So he's bringing the exhaust over. And he should be here very soon. And I don't want to run it with the exhaust off, because that could scorch around the exhaust, around the bonnet. Because at the minute, there's the ambrosia tin down here, and if you run it too long it's going to scorch the paint. So I'm being patient. We have heard it run, which is good, so let's hope it's better with this new carb. But firstly I want to address this fuel leak, what we've got around this manifold here, this changeover tap. If I turn it on, you'll see it starts to drip. Where is it? It's starting to drip. Give it a second, and that tap there, it's all wet. And I think it's just that pipe is loose. This side feel alright. Have I got the petrol switched on around the other side? I don't know. It might not even be on. No, it weren't even on. Alright, so it was off on the petrol tap. Ah, there you go. Oh my word, look. It's leaking out of this pipe here and everywhere now. We have petrol leaks galore. Oh dear, I think that pipe was fractured. Right, it seems that pipe has loosed that end and virtually snapped off this end. Oh, in fact it has snapped off, look. So we have a snapped off fuel pipe. So right, I'm going to have to fabricate a fuel pipe to go in here. I think I can bridge it for now with a little bit of rubber. And I think it was just leaking this end. Although that does feel tight. It weren't tight enough. So this pipe was actually just loose. But why is it fractured up that end? Yeah, maybe taking it on and off the carb. Best thing to do if this tap's leaking, I'll turn him off, I'll turn the petrol on the other side, and we can see if it actually drips out of this changeover valve. Let me switch her on. Right, we are on. Is that leaking? No. If I put my finger over it, do it leak? No. I think It was just leaking out of that pipe, guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with this changeover valve. Right, okay, it looked like we just got to make a pipe up. Yeah, that will be fun. I don't like my chances of getting this little bit out of here. Alright, let me take this Jubilee clip off, this banjo. Did I just see that dripping there? I'm going to get some brake clean on that and see if that is actually dripping out of that changeover valve. Because if it is, we might have to take that off. Alright, I'm going to just take that whole Jubilee off because it's starting to rain again. It's been raining on, off, on, off, on, off today. Let's get her in the shed. Right, we're in the shed. Here's our banjo. We'll put him gently in the vise and see if we can get a spanner over this pipe fitting, and hopefully that'll come out of there. Hopefully. Right, this is where I might need a Whitworth. A 10 is too small and an 11 is too big. So let's try 1/8 Whitworth. It's too small. 3/16 is going to be too big. Right, how are we going to do this? Because you can't get a 10.5mm spanner, can we? Will a 10 go on there anyway? You know, I think this is just knurled up. There you go. Will that come undone? Oh, easily peasily, look. There we are. So, we can get that undone. Nice and easy. There we are. Right, she's a coming undone, guys. Cool. We're going to have to make up. I don't know if I can put an olive. Hang on, I haven't got a spanner what fit that correctly because it's been rather knurled up. But what I think I can do, and I'm going to get hate for this. There we are. I hope. Right, I think there's just an olive on. Look how crushed up this end is. Now that don't look right. Don't look right at all. Can we get this end out of here? Because there's an olive on there. Look, I'm wondering if we can save this olive. Put this olive back on the pipe. The pipe will be that much shorter, but it's really not an issue. Let me see if we can gently nip that gently in. And let's see if we can carefully, with a toffee hammer, here we go. Punch that pipe out without damaging that olive. Right, why does that olive feel just a tad loose? Will it come out this way? Right, we've punched it through a little. That olive is actually spinning on this pipe. I don't think we're going to get that olive off there, are we? Let me get my eyewear on. Why didn't I have a spare bag of olives? That olive is a little bit mangled. Right, where can I get damn pipe olives from? I wouldn't have a clue where I could even get pipe olives from. So we can try and save this olive. Let me get something with a little bit more finesse. Right guys, I don't hold out because this olive is quite mangled anyhow. Yeah, that olive, now that olive is, I haven't even knackered that. That is Whoops, where are we? That Oliver's chewed up. That Oliver's just too chewed up. This whole nut is chewed up. Right, I think what we're going to have to do is source an Allis pipe. What can we use for now? Have I got hose tails? Because we have a fitting like this end. What I might do is order some olives and I can repurpose this pipe. Order an olive and an end. But I think for now I can just use standard rubber fuel pipe, I hope. Have I got a hose tail with that fitting and a hose tail with this fitting? Let me have a look. Brass air fittings. Here we have an assortment of hose tails. Do we have a hose tail that'll go in here? This one? Oh, look at that! So we have a hose tail what will go onto our carb here. Perfect. And have we got one for this end? What's this? That looks right to me. So I think, oh, and they're the same diameter, look. Have I got a piece of fuel hose? Because that's like a car size, and I don't normally work with stuff that big. Have I got a piece of fuel hose what will go over these tiles? I do, look. I have a piece of fuel hose that will go over these hose tiles. Okay. Right. I think we can make ourselves up a new copper pipe in time. But for now, until we can run this thing today, we'll go and get this lot on the tractor. Little bit of PTFE around there. There we go. There we go. Alright, let's get him on the carb. Get this all back together. In he goes. There you go. Alright, let's get him on. And hopefully this don't leak. There we go. Alright, let me block my finger over it. Turn him on and see if we've got a leak. No leaks. I'm not happy. I want that all dry. So I don't know if we've got a leak or whether that's ancient. Alright, let's put a bit of brake cleaner on there. I just want to make sure. Whew. I want to make sure we haven't actually got any leaks there. This stuff's fast evaporating, so there you go. That's evaporated and dried off, look. There we go. Right. Oh yes, that looks pretty clean. Finger over, turn on. We have a slight weep around there, look. So at some point we're going to have to take that off. But I think for our purposes today, yeah, that we've got a leak around that tap. So we do need to disassemble that tap somehow. It'll be alright. Let's get our pipe on. I wonder if I can disguise this pipe. There we go. And come round the back of the air filter with it. So that don't look so obvious. So we're not so obvious. Do you know, I think that'll do us a treat. I think having that round there will hide that. So we want that to about there. Push it on. There we are. Right. Oh no, that is leaking big time out of that tap. So let's turn on, make sure our pipe fittings aren't leaking. And it doesn't look like they are. So it looks like we do have, I'm not keen on this bit of petrol pipe what's been put on there. It's a bit of modern plastic stuff. But there you go, it is on. Excellent stuff, and I don't appear to have any leaks apart from this damn tap. I don't know whether we can disassemble this tap and actually stop that leak in there. I really don't know. Yeah, there's a G on this side and a K on that side, so gasoline, kerosene. Well, that'll do for now. What we can do is I want to come back round and we want to check the oil. I did check the oil this morning. I've noticed our oil pressure gauge is so fogged up we can't see it. Whether that can be resurrected, I do not know. But let's have a look at this oil, guys, and see what's coming on. Clean as a whistle. There you go. Where is it? There you go. So somebody's done a lot of work on this. They've changed the oil, they've put new plugs in, they've painted it, put new tyres on it. But they never got it running. Isn't that bizarre? Now I'm hoping this gauge is going to unscrew out of here. And I bet you that's going to leak oil out when I do that. I bet your oil's going to run out of there because that's the filter housing. Betcha. Yeah, ain't much of a drip. That's dripping a little bit. I wonder if we can do anything to this gauge. Yeah, I wonder. Let me try and plug this hole or something, because there ain't as much oil coming out of there as I thought. I might be able to jam a glove in there or something. Bear with. Right, here's our gauge. Yeah, it don't look like there's any way to get this gauge apart, but I want to see if when I run it, if it's got oil pressure. Can I till a new gauge? I'll have to just order another gauge. It don't look like this bezel comes off it. Oh, it does. I think this bezel come off. And we can perhaps take that glass out. I wonder. Right, I wonder if that bezel will tap off there. Let me get my little toffee hammer. Because I think there's a little bezel on that. I don't want to nip the damn gauge too much in the vise though. Right. I've given it a little bit. Let's see if that... There you go. Aha! Right, the bezel is off. Here's our bezel. Yeah, that's all plastic which has gone brittle, look. Yeah, you probably... Right, we've got the plastic out. Whether I could cut another bit of plastic, what would ever fit in there, I don't know. Oh, it's an original Allis oil gauge, look. It wouldn't surprise me if that works. Let me get some of my favourite stuff. And a little artiste's brush. And just see if this will clean up. I wonder. Or is that going to take the writing off and everything? Of course, the gauge is showing 0. Alright, that's going to be it. I'm not going to do too much. I'm really not going to do too much to it. So I'm going to put the bezel back on without the glass in. That'll just hold the dial. There you go. We're not quite on round this side, look. Right, our bezel is back on. There we are. Right, I'm going to get this back on the tractor, so at least we can see if it works. Whether we can cut a... If it do, I might be able to source on eBay a watch crystal or something exactly the same size we can use in their pocket. Look about the same size as a pocket watch face. Who knows? I would like to keep the original Allis oil gauge though. Better than a reproduction. Right, let's get her back in. There we are. In she goes. Right, I think. There we go, at least. Whether I can see that gauge, I mean, we can make it out. At least we can see if we've got any oil pressure. Who knows? Right. What else have we got to do? There's lots to do, lots of little jobs. Gear gaiter for a start. Someone's made this look like out of a toilet brush or a plunger or something. Yeah, but it doesn't. It don't even keep water out the top. There's a gap round, so you're going to have water go straight in your gearbox. Look round there. Crap. So I'm thinking we need to pack some grease around there either way. Till we get a gator, that'll keep water out. Let me get some grease. Alright, belt and braces maybe, but prevention's better than cure. I'm just going to crank in here a load of grease around that gear stick. I know it's going to squidge it all out, but I just want to keep out any water what might decide it's going to get down there. So there we go, we got some grease all the way around. If I pack it in, hopefully when we do the gear changes that'll stay around it. We'll see, won't we? If I put loads around it, like that, look, there you go, see, that's like keeping the grease in. Right, let's put a little bit around the inside of this damn thing, and that'll hopefully again make it a bit more watertight. I just want to make this a bit, I know it ain't going to look pretty, but I just want to keep any water out of this. So that's it, that's filled that right up, look. There you go. That'll hopefully make that watertight now. Right. There we are. Perfect. Lots of little jobs we've got to do. And I'm slowly making a little list of new parts we need for this, which now includes oil pressure gauge, gear gator, fuel hose. Yes, we will see. Well guys, I think we are going to call this video a day. We've done several bits and pieces and there must be nearly an hour's worth of footage. My mate hasn't turned up with the exhaust yet, so we'll get that on the next video, because it's getting the time of day where I don't want to be starting this thing, because she might be a little bit loud. So we're going to leave the video here. We'll have to sort that petrol tap, but it seems like we have our carb issue sorted. We've sorted the timing on the mag, because that was 180 out, so your lead position was going to be 180 different. But it's all done, it's running. It did pull back a couple of times. Whether I've got to get the mag and twist it slightly, I don't know. But now we've got the fuel issue, we'll see if it's going to keep pulling back or whether it'll be half reliable now. Hopefully she won't do a lot of that pulling back and she'll run all right. I've noticed it's got a slight water leak where one of the new hoses go on. I don't know whether that's just a loose Jubilee clip. It probably is, but it's drip, 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 and half the radiator is empty, I'm guessing. But at least we know she holds water, apart from a drip in this hose, and it isn't the water pump, which is good. So that's going to be it. I'm going. My knee hurt, so I just had to get up. I will see you guys next time. Is the cockerel going for it? I think he is. Right, by the way, Mrs. Man Cave, when this thing started earlier, she was delighted. I've never seen her chuckle so much in my life. She is over the moon with this little thing. To be honest with you, so am I. It's a little booty. It just needs a better paint job, the decals back on it. It'll be lovely. Right, see you next time, guys. Bye bye for now. Ha ha!